Swage lock tube fittings come to you fully assembled and ready to install. Remember that bulkhead fittings are the only connections that require disassembly before installation. All other tube fitting configurations do not need to be disassembled prior to installation. You need only standard wrenches and a marker to complete installation properly. Good tube handling practice calls for the inspection of the tube to ensure that it is free of burrs and scratches. Follow 3 easy steps to make up the swage lock tube fitting. First, fully insert the tubing into the fitting and against the shoulder. Rotate the nut finger tight. Second, mark the nut at the 6 o'clock position. Third, while holding the fitting body steady with a vise or backup wrench, tighten the nut 1 1/4 turns until the mark reaches the 9 o'clock position. The swage lock tube fitting has now been properly assembled to provide robust tube grip, gas seal, and vibration resistance for dependable, leak-free performance. For 1/16, 1/8, 3/16 inch, 2, 3, and 4 millimeter tube fitting sizes, tighten the nut 3/4 of a turn to the 3 o'clock position. On initial installation, use the swage lock gap inspection gauge to ensure that the swage lock tube fitting has been sufficiently tightened. Position the gap inspection gauge next to the gap between the nut and body. If the gauge will not enter the gap, the fitting is sufficiently tightened. If the gauge will enter the gap, additional tightening is required. You may disassemble and reassemble swage lock tube fittings many times. To reassemble, insert the tubing with pre-swaged ferrules into the fitting body until the front ferrule seats. Rotate the nut with a wrench to the previously pulled up position. At this point, you will encounter a significant increase in resistance. Finally, tighten the nut slightly with a wrench. Do not use the swage lock gap inspection gauge with reassembled fittings. If you have any questions about this process, please contact your authorized swage lock sales and service representative.